Hey, family, it is March. Tax season is more than halfway over. And life just might be lifing and you don't have your taxes done yet. Well, guess what? It may be time for you to consider filing a tax extension. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what a tax extension is for an individual taxpayer, what it's not for, and how you can file it. If you're new here, my name is Timalyn Bowens, and I am America's favorite EA. As an enrolled agent, I'm authorized by the IRS to represent taxpayers in all 50 states. This means if you're in hot water with the IRS, whether you're facing an audit or you owe $100,000 or more and can't pay, you want to hire me to represent you to negotiate that for you with the IRS. But in this video today, we're going to talk about how a tax extension can help you avoid certain tax penalties. So let's get right into it. There are three ways that you can request an automatic extension of time to file a U.S. individual income tax return, which is better known as Form 1040. You can pay all or part of your estimated income tax due and indicate that the payment is for an extension if you use direct pay, the EFTPS, which is the Electronic Federal Tax Payment System, or if you pay with a credit or debit card. Okay. Now, if you want more information on how to pay with a credit card, right here on this channel, I have a video that walks you right through that. Your other option is you can file a Form 4868, which is what I have right before you here on the screen. Now, this 4868 can be filed electronically by accessing the IRS e-file system using your tax software. So if you're a TurboTax person, you can do it there, H&R Block, whatever DIY software you're using. Or if you want to use a tax professional that e-files, you can also do it that way. Last but not least, you can file a paper form 4868 and enclose payment of your estimated taxes with that. That's optional. It won't get processed as fast as it being e-filed, but it can be done. Okay? So again, the whole purpose of this form is to apply for 6 more months to file your tax return. Now, if you're out of the country, you get 4 months, but I'm not going to dig all into that right here. So for this year, the tax due date is April 18th. All right. So in order for you to apply for an extension, you have to file this 4868 by April 18th. And then when you do that, this year, you're going to have until October 16th to get your 1040 in. Now you may be thinking, I thought the tax deadline was April 15th. Well, you're not mistaken, but see, when the 15th falls on a weekend or holiday, it gets pushed out. So this year, April 15th is a Saturday, and then the 17th is a holiday in DC. So that's why our deadline this year is April 18th. So if you want that extra 6 months to file, you need to make sure you have your 4868 filed by then. This is for taxpayers filing the 1040, the 1040-SR, which is for seniors, or the 1040-NR for non-residents, anything in the 1040 series. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is properly estimate your 2022 tax liability. And we're going to talk about that here with number 4. Okay. Once you do that and you have your estimated total payments, we're going to be able to fill this out and send it into the IRS. So let me walk you right through it. Now, if you've been watching on this channel, you know I like to have fun with the different taxpayers we use. But you know what? Today I said, hey, let me use me and my husband because, like I said earlier, it's March, life is life, and trust me, I most surely will be filing a tax extension this year, just like years in the past. So Here you have our names. We have Timalyn S. and Joseph O.A. Bowens. And just like with all the other taxpayers, 100,000 bonus points if you can tell me my middle name, or double those points if you can tell me my husband's middle names. All right. Address. This is not my real address, so please don't stalk me. It is the Bowens Tax Solutions address. We have 101 North 7th Street, Louisville, Kentucky, 40202. Google me. I promise that's the office. Because while I am America's favorite EA, I am also the owner of Bowens Tax Solutions, which is a virtual firm based in Louisville, Kentucky, and we specialize in stepping in taxpayer shoes to handle their IRS issues. All right. So I just realized I made a boo boo here. You don't need to put the city and state and zip code twice. So we have address here, city, state code, zip code, social security number 867-5309. If you're born in the 80s or before, you just sang that. And then the 10, spouse's social security number, the same thing backwards. Now, part two, individual income tax. You may be thinking, how in the world am I going to figure this out? Well, if you are again, subscribe to the channel. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video on how to figure your estimated tax payments. But if you don't want to walk through that, you kind of want to listen, you can do that here on the YouTube channel, but also on my podcast, Tax Relief with Timalyn Bowens. I did an episode that also covers estimated tax payments. So for 2022, in this example here, our estimated tax liability for 2022 is $59,467. You may be thinking, what in the world? That is actually a very realistic tax liability, unfortunately. I'm a little sad. And after we do that estimate of the total tax liability, and again, if you've had a refund in the past, that doesn't mean that you didn't have a liability. That just means throughout the year, you overpaid what your liability was, so you get part of that back as a refund. If you want to know more about the difference between tax refund, tax liability, tax return, check out the video I did, 15 tax terms every taxpayer should know. I also did a blog post covering the same thing on my blog at americasfavoriteea.com. For the total tax payments, this is going to consist of things such as estimated tax payments that we've made for my business. It's also going to take into consideration any W-2 income. So you know when you're filling out your W-4 and you ask your employer to withhold money, that shows up in box 2 of your W-2, and you're going to add up that with any estimated tax payments and put it here. The same thing if you have any dividend income or any other source of income that had taxes withheld, you're gonna add that up and put the total here. Now, once we subtract the payments from the liability, whatever is left is gonna be here. So for me and my husband this year, we have a balance due of $14,467. Now, know about you, but I don't like paying penalties and interest, but I also don't like giving anybody money. I won't say anybody. I don't like giving the government money any faster than I have to. This is an automatic extension of time to file, not to pay. So even though my tax return will no longer be due on April 18th, the payment for my taxes is still due April 18th. So I'm going to get this filed in March and I'm going to pay $1 with it, okay? So I'm going to pay online. But the remaining balance, which will be $14,466, I'm gonna have to make sure that gets paid before April 18th. Otherwise, I'll be facing what's called the late payment penalty. Now, this is usually half of 1% of any tax not paid by the regular due date. So essentially, 0.5% of the 14,000, and it'll be $466. This, if it can be avoided, needs to be paid on the due date or by the due date. The maximum penalty here is going to be 25% of this tax. Now, stick here with me. Remember, I don't like paying unnecessary penalties and fees, and I don't think that you should either. If you owe a balance this year and you're like, I can't get that paid by April 18th, I'm not going to worry about the extension. Stop, breathe. Please file an extension because if you don't file your return on time or the extension by April 18th to give you that extra 6 months, you're also going to be faced with a late filing penalty. And with the late filing penalty, it's usually 5% of the amount due for each month it hasn't been filed. So check this out. All right. Let's say you are, a little down because you have that balance and you're not going to be able to pay it in time. So you were like, I'll just file in October, but you don't file the extension. The maximum late filing penalty is 25% of it'll be $14,466. That penalty in total will be $3,616.50. And I don't know about you, but I've noticed the IRS rounds up when we're looking at returns. So that would be $3,617. And that's in addition to the 14,466. So all in, if you don't get this extension filed in time and you're not going to file your return until October, your tax debt is going to be $18,082.50. Now, what you've done there is taken a tax problem that you have and made it way worse by not going ahead and taking care of it. If you have a balance and you can't pay it in full, you do actually have some options here, folks. If you've been tax compliant, which means you have at least the past 6 years worth of tax returns filed, and you've adjusted your withholding. So for 2023, this underpayment won't happen. You may be eligible for a guaranteed payment plan if you can pay that off in 36 months. Well, shoot, if it's under $50,000 and you can pay it off in 72 months, the same rules apply. I walk you through how to set up that installment agreement either online or on the phone in my ebook guaranteed payment plan. For right now, though, if you're already facing tax debt and you don't have your stuff together, make sure that you get your tax extension filed ASAP. You don't even have to give the IRS a reason for why you're filing this extension. All you have to do is make sure that you have part one and part two completely filled out. You can either mail it or you can e-file it. Whatever you do, make sure you take action because back taxes, penalties, and interest shouldn't ruin your life.